Welcome to this month's edition of OSU Extension Monthly. It's the month of March and it is National Nutrition Month. Each year in March, the organizations above us, through the Extension Service, we focus on nutrition. One of the things that is out there that is a tool for each of us to use is called the My Plate. You can go to myplate.gov and find out all about the My Plate. But today I'm going to talk a little bit about My Plate and healthy eating. You can create a healthy eating style that can improve your health now and in the future just by making some small changes over time. It's not something you have to do like today, but you can do changes over time. Consider changes that will reflect your personal preferences, your culture, as well as your tradition. Think of each change as a win as you build positive habits and find solutions that reflect your healthy eating style. I'm going to give you some tips and some tools and things that will help you in that regard. Excuse me. You know, allergy season is up on us, and we're all having issues with our allergies. So when we talk about My Plate, one of the things that you do on a My Plate is you visualize a plate that is round. So you're going to make half of that plate fruit and vegetables. The USDA says that we need to be incorporating more fruits and vegetables in our diet, that we as Americans, we as Oklahomans, we as Texas County people do not get enough fruits and vegetables in our diet. One of the reasons for that is because we eat out a lot and eat fast food. And unless you are conscious and make a real effort to consider what you're eating, you will not be eating fruits and vegetables. We need to focus on whole fruits more than drinking juice. You know, there was a time in the past where we encouraged people to drink 100% fruit juice, and you can still drink 100% fruit juice, but we do really believe that whole fruit is really best for you because you get additional nutrients from the whole fruit that you don't get from the juice. You get the fiber, which your body really needs. We would encourage you to snack on fresh, frozen, canned, or dried fruit rather than cookies. I know cookies taste good. I like cookies as well. But if more often than not, if I would snack on fresh, canned, frozen, or dried fruit rather than the cookies, I'm going to be eating healthier. Now that doesn't mean I can eat all I want of either one of those things. We have to eat in moderation. Offer whole fruits instead of saturated fat, sodium, or added sugar when you're having a dessert. It's perfectly all right at the end of the meal to offer your family a piece of fruit for the dessert rather than having things like brownies or other sugar-sweetened fruit. I know people will say, well, there's sugar in fruit. That is true, and that is called natural sugars, and it's the kind that is good for our bodies rather than the added sugars that so many of us put in. You need to vary your veggies. A lot of people like mashed potatoes or French fries or corn or just green beans. Well, we've got to vary our vegetables so that we include red, green, orange choices, those fruits that have those deep dark colors. You can add either fresh, frozen, or canned vegetables to your salad, side dishes, and recipes. You know, this week I was at a meeting and we had this salad and it was just wonderful. It had mandarin oranges in it, and the other one, of course, had strawberries and spinach in it, and they were just fabulous. And I really did enjoy eating them, and it was much better than eating something like a high-starch vegetable such as corn or mashed potatoes. We need to prepare our vegetables plain. That means that we don't add sauces to them, we don't add gravies, or we don't add glazes. And when we do that, and we have it plain, we are able to lower the sodium content, the saturated fat content, and any added sugar, which is always healthier for us. The next part of the plate is a quarter of your plate will be your grains. To win with my plate in relation to the grains, we need to make them whole grains. Choose whole grain foods more often than refined grains, and make at least half the amount of grains you eat each day whole grains. You want to look for those grains that have high fiber in them. It's very good for our digestive system. And you can do that by reading the nutrition fact label to see what the percentage of whole grains are in a product. Some common whole grain foods are oatmeal, whole wheat flour, and even popcorn. So you need to make a quarter of your plate healthy whole grain. Then also on my plate that you will have a little section that will be for dairy. When you look at your dairy foods, you want to choose low fat or fat-free milk or yogurt. Now, just because you eat yogurt doesn't mean that you're always healthy. You can eat too much of it and become unhealthy. So you need to be sure that you eat in moderation. Buy your low-fat cheeses more often than you buy a full-fat cheese. Regular cream cheese, butter, and cream are not in the dairy food group. Let me repeat that. Regular cream cheese, butter, and cream are not in the dairy food group because they have little or no calcium. The foods that are in your dairy group are those that have calcium. Those three foods that I mentioned also are higher in fat. And so if you're trying to lose weight or you're wanting to be healthier, then consider the fact that those three items are high in saturated fat. You also need to vary your protein routine. Mix up your protein food to include seafood, beans, nuts, seeds, soy, eggs, lean meat, and poultry. It is recommended that you eat seafood twice a week, including fish and shellfish. I know a lot of people don't like fish, and I'm one of them. Plus, I am allergic to a lot of fish, so I have to make sure that I get my protein, but that I vary it with other foods. So I do that by adding beans and peas to my diet. I also add nuts and seeds and soy products into my main dishes and into snacks. It's really important when you're considering your health that you compare the saturated fat, sodium, and added sugars that are in your food and in your beverages, because you can drink a lot of calories in a day. So what we need to do is to make sure that we look at labels of things that we purchase so that we find those products that have less saturated fat and sodium. Use the ingredient list to find out about how much sugar is in the product that you're wanting to buy. And of course, as we all know, we all need to cut back on sugary beverages such as fruit drinks and sodas. You know, when I was growing up, sodas was a once in a while treat. As a matter of fact, I probably didn't even always get a soda a month. And you know, I think I was a lot healthier. Today in our fast-paced society and the fact that we have all of these fast food places and restaurants that sell sodas, we tend to order them. Or we get this mindset like I have, is that whenever I eat Mexican food, I think I have to have a Dr. Pepper. I'm trying to retrain myself and say, it's okay to drink water when I eat Mexican food. When we do this, every time that we go out to eat, say Mexican food, We always order water. It'll soon become a habit, and it'll soon become a preference for you. And I will learn that I don't have to have a Dr. Pepper with my Mexican food. We've got, obesity is a real problem here in Oklahoma, and we have lots and lots of young people who are obese, and a lot of adults who are obese. And we could probably tie a tremendous amount of the calorie intake from those people from their drinking sodas. A 1 12-ounce can of soda has as much as 14 teaspoons of sugar in it. Think about that. If you were to take a teaspoon and measure out 14 teaspoons of sugar, you would look at that and say, oh, no, I couldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. But that is what you're doing when you drink a soda. So, another thing that you can do to increase your nutritional value and the fun of your meals is to make your family meal times fun. Sitting down together for a meal whenever you can is a great way to connect with your family. You want to keep your meal time relaxed. It's not the time to be upset with your children because they're not eating what you put in front of them. Keeping it relaxed is key to making sure that you get the most out of the time that you're there. And then you need to include talking. That means you turn the TV off. You're choosing healthy food, and you find time to laugh together. Not only will that make you healthy nutritionally, but it'll make you healthy emotionally. So here's some tips from some families that make meals more relaxed in their home. The first one, of course, is to remove distraction. Turn off the TV, put away the phone and the tablet, and pay attention to one another. Talk to one another. Focus conversation on what family members did during the day. For example, what made you laugh, or what did you do for fun? Sometimes we get in the habit of saying, how was your day? Well, some people will just say, oh, it was okay. And they're done. They're not going to talk anymore. But if you ask questions that they need to talk, you can make those conversations happen. Other conversation starters include give each family member the spotlight to share their highlights, their lowlights, and their funny lights from the day or from the week. If our family lived in a zoo, what animal would you be and why? You'll find out a lot about your family if you ask questions of this nature. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why? If you were stranded on a desert island and could only have one food to eat, what would it be and why? That and why encourages conversation because people feel that they have they're valued for what they have to say, and that's really important in a relationship. Mealtime can be a time where you can pass on tradition. You can tell your kids about the good old days with food that Grandma made that you love to eat. I still make a lot of the foods that are traditional in our family, and a lot of times we think of traditional food at the holidays. For example, we always have Grandma's fruit salad at Christmas, or we always have Aunt Jane's mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving. So those traditions can also be built on our everyday meals. We can make something and explain why we made the food that we made. One of my favorite things, and I had it just last night at supper, was that my mother always made that my children loved. And that was to take elbow macaroni and cook it, and then add some milk and butter to it. And then cook it down low so it's almost like a sauce on the macaroni. We just really do enjoy that dish. Nothing fancy, nothing really unique about it. Macaroni, milk, and butter. Maybe not necessarily the healthiest food I could have cooked because the pasta or the elbow macaroni with marinara sauce probably would have been healthier, but it was one of those traditional foods. And my husband and I talked about how much our children had enjoyed that food. You know, another thing you can do is let the kids help. Kids really do enjoy being part of a process. And in 4-H, we teach that kids learn by doing. And it's really important in a relationship that we help our children learn by doing. So the little ones, maybe all they could do is get the napkins, and while the older kids can actually help with fixing the food, as well as doing some cleanup. You can also make your own dishes where everybody's involved. For example, like tacos or mini pizzas. You provide the base, and the people feel from the different dishes what they want on their taco or on their pizza. You can make yogurt parfaits, and everyone could start with the yogurt but add whatever granola or fruit or nuts that they wanted to add to their yogurt. Another thing that I think I always enjoyed when I was growing up was that when the weather was nice and the weather is beginning to warm up, and this would be something to really take into consideration, is that on nice days opt for a change of scenery. So go to the park and have a picnic, or go to the lake and have a meal there. One of my favorite remembrance of my family when I was growing up was we would go to a lake that we have on some land that we own and have a picnic. Now, it wasn't sandwiches and chips and an apple kind of picnic. It was my mother would fry fried potatoes out on the campfire, and those things, nothing tastes better than fried potatoes cooked out on a campfire. So you can be creative in what you do. Another thing that a lot of families like to do, and it could be something simple that you could add to your family, is to reserve a special plate to rotate between the family members, like for their birthdays or when somebody gets a good grade or any other occasion that you think merits recognition. And there's lots of things that our kids do in this world that can be recognized, and it's really important that we look at the positive things our children do and make sure that we praise them for that rather than always focusing on the negative things. So my plate is all about finding a healthy eating style that works for your family and fits with your everyday life. The icon of my plate is a reminder to us to make healthy choices from each of the 5 food groups. And those little changes that you make can add up to big success over time. So here's some things too that you can do to make eating more fun. You can go on to choosemyplate.gov, which is on the USDA website, and you can see some videos from real families who are making healthy choices and eating. They show you in their video what they're doing. For example, you could follow Shelley and her 2-year-old as she sets up her family for success by making little changes to her son's diet. Or you can see how another mom teaches her children about nutrition. And I think those moms out there who understand nutrition and teach it to their children will have healthier, more successful individuals. If you need help in learning what is nutritious meals and how to prepare those meals, etc., that we can help you with that here at the Texas County OSU Extension Office. And we're located at 301 North Main here in Guyman. So drop in and we can help you with that. Also on this website that I was talking about, they have recipes that are healthy, and they have a site on this website that talks about the USDA mixing bowl, what's cooking, and it has healthy, budget-friendly recipes that you can prepare for your family. If you've bought groceries lately, you know that grocery prices have gone up considerably. And so it's really important that if we want to eat healthy, and save money so that our budget stays intact, then there's recipes out there that can help you do that. Provide the best nutrient for the least amount of money. There's also a site on there where it talks about local foods. When we talk about local foods, we're talking about those foods that you can get directly from a farm, or directly from a garden, or from a farmer's market, or individuals who sell on the roadside, fruit stands, vegetable stands, those types of things. Kids really do enjoy going to the grocery store to help purchase food for the family, and I know sometimes that's not the thing parents want to have happen, but you can make that an adventure where you can teach children about good nutrition. And it's really important that we do teach our children about good nutrition. If we teach them nutrition at home, then when they go to school and they're out in the public, etc., they will probably make better food choices. And that's something to work toward. Okay. If your children eat like at school, you want it to still be healthy. So you can do some things to make it better for your child to make healthy choices at school. One of those things is to try new foods. Nothing makes a child not want to eat something than a mom or a dad or an older sibling say, "Yuck, I hate this." So don't allow that to be said at your table. You can say, "I don't care for this, but I'll be willing to try it," or just keep offering it until they do try it. Kids need many opportunities to try different foods because just like we do, we get our favorites. They do too. And they have to learn to get used to eating other foods. Our taste buds change as we age, and what we didn't used to like, we may find out that we do like now. An example of that was my husband, who insisted when we were married that he would never eat broccoli. I kept serving broccoli, and he has learned to like broccoli. And now, when you ask him what's his favorite vegetable, he will say broccoli. So just keep trying to help, but don't force a child to eat a food that they really don't want to. Sometimes that's when we set up problems with the meal, is when we're trying to make our child eat something. When I was growing up, we were never required to eat anything or what was on the table, but we didn't get anything else either. And my mom would just say, you know, if you want to, why don't you try this? And I learned to like lots of foods that other people might say, ooh, I don't want that, like mustard greens and collards and kale, those types of things that have the stronger flavors. If you get the opportunity, go eat lunch with your child at school. Find out what they're eating and see what choices that they have to make so that you can talk to your child about what's going to be on the menu and know that they can maybe make good selection. There's lots of activities you could do with your children to help them learn about nutrition. If you'd like more information about that, you're certainly welcome to come to the Texas County OSU Extension Office or any Extension office in the state of Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, and those educators that are there can help you learn better things to help with your children. One of my favorite things to do is to make food art with your food. I know when I was growing up, I was taught you don't play with your food. Well, there's a difference in playing with your food and making your food playful and pretty and fun to eat. So do make your food fun. If you have to use a cookie cutter to cut out sandwiches, etc. like that, please go ahead and do that. Quickly here, I'd like to cover 30 steps to a healthier you. So let's take a month of 30 days and see what we could do. On the first day, you can go to that choosemyplate.gov. They have a site on there where you can calculate your personalized daily food plan. Not all of us require the same amount of food. The second day, maybe you order a veggie pizza. Maybe you've never eaten a veggie pizza before and you think you just can't, but try it, you might be fun. Our third day, eat foods and beverages low in added sugar. Fourth day, broil, grill, roast, boil meat, poultry, or fish rather than frying. Skip or limit the breading. The fifth day, make the most of your food choices. The sixth day, select vegetables with more potassium. Those are things like sweet potatoes, white beans, tomato products. 7, make half your plate fruits and vegetables. We've talked about that. 8, dried fruit make a great snack. 9, sauces or seasoning can add calories, saturated fat, and sodium. So check your labels and make sure that what you're eating is the lowest in fat, sodium, and calories. Number 10, get active. Walk up and down a football field, a soccer field, wherever, so that you can get in some exercise. 11, try a main dish salad for supper. 12, remember, make your grain whole grains. 13, trim away all the visible fat. 14, remember, popcorn is a whole grain and it can be a healthy snack. Do stretches on the 15th day. On the 16th day, try low-fat salad dressings with raw vegetables. 17th day, do some moderate intensity exercises. Do some stretching, do some cardio. It's important that you do about 30 minutes every day. Remember that color on the 18th day is not an indication of whole grain. Just because it's darker doesn't mean it's whole grain. 19, frozen fruit bars, juicy, 100% juice, can be a healthy snack. 20, park further away from the door. 21, choose seafood at least twice a week. 22, use frozen vegetables because they're easy and quick to cook. 23, experiment by substituting whole wheat or oat flour for the other flour. If you drink lattes or cappuccinos, ask them for skim milk in them so that you can lower the calories. Remember to never let raw eggs, meat, cooked food, or fresh fruits and vegetables sit at room temperature for more than 2 hours. 26, cut up those vegetables and keep them so that they're handy for you to grab to snack on. 27, select fruit that has more potassium. This will be things like prunes, bananas, prune juice, dried peaches, and apricot. 28, make pudding with low-fat milk. 29, go for a walk instead of drinking coffee. 30, fix you up a fresh fruit salad. Mix apples, bananas, or pears with oranges, pineapple, lemon juice. Will keep them from browning. Real quickly, I'd like to tell you about some upcoming events that we're going to have here at the Texas County Extension Office. On April the 14th, we're going to have a Clean Up Oklahoma event out at the Texas County Fairgrounds. We'll begin at 9 a.m. in the morning, and those individuals who would be willing to come help with that need to let me know here in the Extension Office. You can call 580-338-7300 so that I can provide lunch for you. On March the 20th, here at the Texas County OSU Extension Office, we will be making some cancer pillows. These are pillows that cancer individuals can utilize when they have had surgery. On March the 27th at 1:30 here in the Texas County Extension Office, I will do a program called Various Meringues. We'll talk about how to make good meringues and the different uses of meringue. In the 4-H department, our dress review and appropriate dress contest is coming up in April as well. So lots of things coming out of the Texas County OSU Extension Office, and we'd like to have you to be a part of it.